An explosive week 2 of the NFL had fans on the edge of their seats. From onside kicks to narrow defeats, football did not disappoint. We're taking a look at some of the biggest plays and disappointments. And Will Brison is here to break it down for us. Will is the senior NFL writer for CBS Sports. He's also hosting the new Pick 6 podcast for CBS Sports. That podcast will be airing for the first time today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Congrats, my brother.
Hey, appreciate it, Vlad. Yeah, we're doing. They gave us a show on CBS Sports HQ for some reason. They're letting us do a podcast show. We'll take it. Should be fun at 4 p.m. today.
For some reason, because you're awesome. So let's talk about the injuries before we get down to the games. 2 major players went down yesterday. New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley and San Francisco defensive end Nick Bosa, both left with torn ACLs. What's the impact?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge impact. Saquon Barkley was a top 5 overall pick for the New York Giants, a controversial selection given the presence of a lot of quarterbacks in that draft. He's a dynamic player, an explosive athlete, and it hinders their offense. And it stinks because we love to see Saquon Barkley on the field, and we wanted to see him out there playing well this year. It's now back-to-back years for Saquon where he suffered an injury in week 2 of the season. It probably doesn't have as big an effect on the Giants season because they're not a very good football team. For the 49ers, this is a massive loss. Nick Bosa was the defensive rookie of the year last year, arguably could have been the defensive player of the year in 2019 as well. And he's just an impactful, out-of-the-box pass rusher, also a number 2 overall selection. And having lost to Forrest Buckner via trade this past offseason, the 49ers are now a little bit thin at the biggest strength on their defense, that pass rush. Combine that with an injury to Jimmy Garoppolo, an injury to Raheem Mostert. George Kittle is banged up. The defending NFC champions are very, very short in terms of personnel because of injury right now. And by the way, they complained about the turf in MetLife Stadium up there in New York. And they got to go back and play the Giants in the same stadium this coming week. They're not happy about it.
Wow. All right. Well, let me ask you about the Seahawks-Pats game. The final drive by the Patriots ended at the 1-yard line. What does the Patriots' loss tell us about Cam Newton's ability to close out a game?
Yeah, well, I would say this. I think that as much as it's hard to find a win, and like you don't want a moral victory in the NFL. They say there's no moral victories in this league. I would disagree a little bit on this one. I think that the Patriots have to be feeling good about going into Seattle, getting a magnificent effort from Russell Wilson, 21 of 28 for 5 passing touchdowns, only the 3rd player in history to ever throw 5 passing touchdowns in a game against Bill Belichick, dating back to like 1988. And then you had a chance to win it at the end. And the reason why you feel good is because Cam Newton looks like MVP Cam. Julian Edelman, longtime pal of Tom Brady, actually set a career high in receiving yards with Cam. Cam was dealing in terms of passing the ball, and he's a goal line threat. Now, the final play, Bill Belichick took his headset off. They said, let's go quarterback power run from the 1-yard line. One play to see who wins the game, our strength versus maybe what we don't think is their strength. And Seattle just came up and got a second surge and stuffed Cam from getting in the end zone. This Patriots team, though, people thought this is the demise of New England. Not so fast. They look like a team that can absolutely compete for the Super Bowl. If Cam Newton is healthy for 16 games, this Patriots team will be there at the end.
So is it too early to talk MVP with Russell Wilson? I mean, it's kind of early.
It's early, but I tell you what, one of the harping points from last night from Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels is that Russ has never had an MVP vote. He's been deserving of the award realistically the last 2 years, but Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson just had transcendent seasons. Russ now playing out of his mind. Their hashtag Let Russ Cook is something that's popular among Seahawks Twitter. And the Seahawks are doing just that. They're throwing more often on 1st down. They're utilizing a lot more play action. They're being very aggressive on 4th down and on short yardage situations, letting Russ throw down the field. In my opinion, he's the best deep ball passer in the NFL. And with the Seahawks defense sort of taking a slide here, they don't look nearly as good as they have in years past. It's very possible that Russ will have to carry this team. And if he carries his team to 10, 12, 13 wins and they take down the NFC West again, he's going to get a ton of MVP love through 2 weeks of the season. He's the runaway leader, in my opinion, with Josh Allen and Kyler Murray coming up just a little short of him.
The other incredible game, of course, was the Cowboys-Falcons game. The miracle of that onside kick, I mean, pretty incredible. And some analysts are crediting the Cowboy comeback to Dak Prescott. And on the other end, Shannon Sharpe is calling for the Atlanta Falcons to let go of their head coach. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dan Quinn was on the hot seat last year, nearly fired midseason. Arthur Blank, who joined the Pick Six podcast at the Super Bowl last year, actually told us that he wanted to be patient. All right, a little name drop there. He wanted to be patient. He wanted to be keep consistency across the organization. It's a smart thing to do if you don't want to just fire coaches willy-nilly. Having said that, this is a crippling loss. The Falcons were leading 26-7. Dan Quinn inexplicably went for a 2-point conversion at that point in time when just kick the extra point and take the points. And then the final, the onside kick. This is it's an indictment of coaching because the Falcons didn't apparently. John Breach wrote about this for CBSSports.com. It looks like they didn't understand they could just jump on the ball at any time they want. They're the recovering team. They don't have to wait for it to go 10 yards. The Cowboys do before they can touch it. The Falcons are just sort of staring at it, didn't know what to do. The Cowboys scoop it up, and then they score they get the game-winning field goal. Brutal loss for the Falcons. They're now 0-2. And if this continues early on in the season, it's very likely that Dan Quinn will probably end up losing his job because he was on the hot seat coming in, and they can't have another slow start or else he's going to be in big trouble. But, yeah, Dak Prescott, big game for him.
One thing I hope that does not continue, I cannot stand that fake crowd noise. I mean, I'm sort of an intelligent person. I can cheer for my team or not cheer for them without the prompting. It's sort of like a laugh track in these old sitcoms, right? I mean, nobody uses those anymore. Get rid of the crowd. But what I want them to keep, or what I want you to keep, Will, is that awesome pop art of Carl Spackler behind you, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's the full gamut of Bill Murray. I got that and some Phil Mickelson back there. A nice array of stuff. I agree with you, though. Get rid of the crowd noise. I want to hear all the football, everything happening on that field.